bin.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And as I told you last week on Media Nerds, I have been fooling around a little bit with TikTok, with that my kid's favorite app. And it's a lot of fun. I've actually found there to be quite a bit of Star Wars related content on TikTok, which is really,
I've never
really cool.
seen any of it.
Well,
I've never seen any.
Yeah, and I guess you could probably search the hashtags to find some of it. But there's everything from discussions about the movies, people posting opinions about different things. I'm actually thinking of using it as a way to promote this podcast if I can figure out what to do. But there's like people who are like just talking about different things. There's one girl who's just obsessed with Darth Vader, and she just posts fun facts about Darth Vader, and she pulls from all kinds of different stuff, the comic books, the books, canon, non-canon, all kinds of stuff. So that's really interesting. There's of course cosplay as well is a big part of it. So a lot of people with their different cosplay creations. One woman who's basically created really, really great cosplays as every single female character basically in Star Wars. So Rey, Jyn, Princess Leia, like everybody you can think of. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've been kind of, and now that I've started following some of these people, it's just serving me up more and more. So there's like an endless amount of Star Wars related content on TikTok. So
What did you search to find them?
I didn't search anything. It just all of a sudden.
Oh, it just started popping up?
Yeah. And that's what's kind of weird about it. Like this algorithm seems to be really, really accurate as far as like serving me what I like. And it also started showing up stuff about video games, retro video games, which is what my other podcast is about. Like it just does a great job of kind of like, you know, showing you content that you are actually interested in. So I don't know how it's going to play out as far as I don't see any ads on it yet. And I'm sure that's coming at some point, but I don't know how that's going to change. And of course, you know, we all know that once advertising gets involved, the algorithm kind of changes for the worse. That's certainly what's happened on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. But anyway, yeah, lots of cool. You can just search out Star Wars hashtags on TikTok. You can find some really cool stuff.
Oh, I will do that. I don't really look at TikTok that much. And the algorithm for me has never really, probably the problem is that I followed celebrities to start with, like the Howie Mandels of the world.
And now
stuff.
you get nothing but
Right.
America's Got Talent related stuff. People,
Yeah, well, I
people
do.
singing.
Yeah, I do. There's definitely like that element to it for sure. And also stuff, because it's a bunch of our students on there, then I get like other people of about that age doing the stuff that they like to do, which by definition is nothing I'm interested in.
I agree. I got a little bit of that as well, and I quickly unfollowed that kind of stuff because it's not my cup of tea. But yeah, it is. There is a group of older people on there. It is showing me videos from people closer to our age in their 40s and 50s, and people who are actually interested in the same stuff. So there is a community of older people on TikTok. It's not just for kids.
Have you shot a video?
I did one video of my son was playing Cuphead. Have you ever played Cuphead? It's an indie video game. It's really cool. It looks like the video game looks like old school animation, like old school Mickey Mouse kind of animation, you know, that kind of thing. And you play this as a character called Cuphead. You're just basically a guy with a cup for a head, and you have to basically it's a really, really hard platformer. Like it's notorious for being super difficult. And so Luke was playing it on the Xbox, and then my cat, Dottie, who's somewhere around here, likes to chase the characters on the screen. She likes to do that. So which is great because it kind of reminded me of when I was a kid. I used to play the Atari Yar's Revenge. Actually, I remember specifically the game Yar's Revenge, which was basically a mosquito, your mosquito flying around the screen, and there's this hum, the zzz sound. And my cat, when I was a kid, would jump up and chase the bug around the screen when I played Yar's Revenge. So that kind of brought me back to my childhood. Anyway, I posted a video of that. It allowed me to add some Tom and Jerry music to it. So I did that, and that's the only video I posted on TikTok so far.
And what's this about your cat chasing an electrified hamster wheel?
Oh, that was a joke.
What the hell is that?
Well, that was a joke. I was thinking about the Far Side for some reason, because the Far Side recently started publishing again. And so I took this photo of our hamster, Timbit, in his hamster ball. And then Dottie just likes to watch him. Like, she doesn't actually do anything.
So he runs around in that ball, and then the cat just watches it happen.
She watches him very carefully. She knows that she can't get to him in the ball, so I don't know. She's just waiting for her opportunity.
Does she want to eat him?
I don't know.
Would she eat him?
I don't know. I really don't. She does it. She literally doesn't try to, like, get in anywhere. She knows she can't. But that was just a joke about, like, it look in the photo. It looks as though she's about to pounce on it. And I just thought, well, what would Gary Larson say about this situation? So I was kind of trying to channel my inner Gary Larson, because he started making comics again, as we may have heard. Gary Larson started posting Far Side again, which is excellent. So that's all that was. It's just a joke.
A funny photo you posted.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first saw it, I wasn't 100% sure if it was legit, or if that was like, or if that was. Well, I knew you just got a cat, and we just got a couple cats too. So I was like, is this something you buy for the cat? Like, is this like an animatronic? And I thought it was an animatronic.
Oh no,
something.
I've had the hamster.
I didn't think it was.
I've had the hamster for a long time now. The hamster's been around for longer than the cat, for sure.
I didn't even know it was a real hamster. I was like, what is this? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. To me, you know what it looked like? It looked like the remote-controlled BB-8.
Right. It could
a little bit.
Definitely. I'm sure you can buy something like that out there.
That's what I sort of had in mind. But did you say it was electrified?
That was a joke. That was the joke part. It was not electrified.
Oh, but it should be electrified.
Well, it was the joke was if the cat was about to pounce and get electrocuted. That's it.
Okay, but it goes on hamster power and not any other. There's no.
You're reading way too much into this.
There's no electric power. There's no gas.
No.
You don't have to fill it up with gas.
No, the hamster moves around on his own. All right, let's.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I like that.
All right,
I like
good.
that.
Glad I explained it to you. Now that I explained it to you, you understand it.
Put it on TikTok.
I can't. It can't do photos on TikTok. You just do.
No, but the hamster doing the thing.
Oh
Put
yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to come off.
Let me pitch you what I would like to do. Here's what I would like to do on TikTok. I was thinking about this, like, what kind of content could I post? And one of the biggest things on TikTok is dubbing. So you basically take a line, like an audio clip of a dialogue from a movie or TV show, and you mouth the words and you make it look like you're saying it. There was another app that did this as well a number of years ago, and I can't remember what it was called. But I would like to do that with Star Wars scenes and basically reenact Star Wars scenes with kind of goofy props to make me look at like different characters. This is what you see people talking to themselves. They cut to the other angle. There's this one guy that basically when he plays a female character, and he's got a huge beard. This one guy I follow, when he plays a female character, he just kind of takes a cloth and puts it on his head like it's hair. It's so bad, but it's funny. So I was thinking I could do that with like Yoda ears or something like that and play Yoda. But the problem is there is no dialogue from any Star Wars movies on the app, and you can't upload your own audio to the app. So I can't. It's unfortunate because there's stuff from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Friends and The Office and all kinds of TV shows, but there's nothing from Star Wars as far as I can tell.
So how does this work? When you hit the I'm recording the video thing or whatever, where do you find the movie clips? What's that?
It says sounds, and then you look in sounds, and then if I search Star Wars, all I get I get lots of Star Wars music. There's tons of Star Wars music on there. I don't know if it's like populated by different app. In that case of that, when it comes to dialogue, I've actually not found any dialogue that I wanted to use at this point. So I'm not sure. I haven't really explored it too much, but that's kind of what I would like to do, is do different Star Wars scenes and that kind of stuff, but make it funny.
Are sounds and music, dialogue and music separate, or are they together?
I think they got to be together. There's no thing here that says dialogue.
It's been so long since I looked at it, I didn't remember.
No, it's not. Yeah, there's nothing here. Like I can't see. It all seems to be about music at first. So I have to do some more digging in here. But anyway, so keep an eye out for my TikToks.
I should actually be trying to.
The other thing I would love to be able to upload clips from our podcast and do it with that. You know, that kind of stuff. Like I just wish they would allow you to upload your own music, but I'm sure there's copyright issues. I'm sure
that's the problem.
Right.
And now they're thinking about banning TikTok.
Right.
And
yeah, of course.
There's all of that stuff. So who knows?
Listen to our podcast last week when we talked more about that. All right, let's get into some Star Wars news. Hey, big announcement this week. Your favorite group of clone troopers are getting their own series.
No.
The Bad Batch.
Nobody wants this.
Well, apparently people are excited about it. This is what I've read. People are excited about it. So the Bad Batch, which is like the first 5 episodes of the new season of Clone Wars, And for those who haven't watched it, these are like clone troopers who are different. They're a little bit different. Everyone, they have their own individual looks. One of them looks like Rambo. One of them looks like big muscly guy, which is also Rambo, but bigger, more muscles than that.
The thing that makes them different is that they're the same as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That was it. You compared them to the Ninja Turtles.
Plus,
so there's
there's
one that's a tech guy. They all have their own set of skills, right? So it's not like all the clone troopers are the same. These ones were bred differently or something was changed about them to make them look different and have them different skills. So that was
a bad batch of bread.
Well, and we also called it the Bad Batch of episodes because it was not the strongest episodes in that season. And this, of course, was the episodes that were like already in production before the series got canceled. So when they showed animatics of it, that was what it was, and they basically kind of carried this all the way through. So they animated it and made it the first few episodes of season season 5. What season was it? 7, whatever, the final season. I don't know. Anyway, but that is the news here. So they are and it's gonna be coming to Disney Plus next year, and it's gonna be probably in the same style, I would imagine, as the Clone Wars, very similar style. And I don't know if Dave Filoni's on board to produce it or not. I should have more information about this, but I don't. I have a different article in front of me, which is says this is from Inverse. First of all, okay, we'll come to this in a second. First of all, are you excited about this? Or are you upset about this? Or no, you don't care about it?
No, I think this is the only thing that could have been worse is if they would have based this whole series based on the two episodes of the Clone Wars in the last season with the two sisters who dumped the spice.
Oh, the Spice Girls.
That would have been worse. Okay, but this is only one step above that.
They could still do that as well, right? Like they could still.
I saw that and I was like, I thought they were punking us, to tell you the truth.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't know anybody who really loved that little arc. I mean, it was fine, but I like a whole series. I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine watching it. And I couldn't help but notice the big joke online because people who aren't fans of Star Wars weren't aware of this. And the joke is the bad bitch is the joke. And if you look at it fast, it actually the logo looks like that. It looks like it says the bad bitch if you look kind of quickly.
Well. So this article from Inverse actually says that the Bad Batch series will fix Star Wars canon in 3 crucial ways, and so I guess it's a bit of a listicle. I should have done this as clickbait. Okay, so the first will number 3 explore how the Republic became the Empire. So because this series takes place after Order 66, so presumably it'll take place after the Revenge of the Sith, basically. So it will take place in that kind of time period between Revenge of the Sith and I guess the next thing we get is Solo, right? As far as the timeline goes. So there's maybe a 10-year gap there that we've not seen anything happening in. So we'll be able to explore that a little bit better. And with that, it'll explain better how the Empire becomes, or how the Republic becomes the Empire. Because at the end of Revenge of the Sith, we see, there's all these kind of you see the start of it, but then it kind of goes to like, how do they actually get the power? We know that they didn't dissolve the Senate or whatever it was. What does he say here? The Senate is in A New Hope. Palpatine dissolves the Senate off screen, which means the regional governors now have direct control. So that's when the actual empire starts in earnest, right? That's what it is. That's when it becomes a totalitarian.
My brain glazes over at that roundtable discussion. Since I was 9 years old, I've been blocking that discussion out of my head as I watched that film. So if this, I guess that could be one good thing that this series could do is show us and not make us listen to the...
Right. Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like, we have more to explore in that time period than anything else. And there's a bit of a gap there that they could fill in. And you're like, well, maybe we don't need to fill in that gap, which is...
I'm all for filling in that gap, but with the Bad Batch, I'm just...
Well, the thing is, the Bad Batch,
wasn't convinced about this storyline from the get-go.
This article compares them to the A-Team of Star Wars.
Right, exactly.
My question is, which one is B.A. Baracus, and do they have to drug him to get him on a spaceship? And so I used to love that. That was my favorite part of that show. When they used to drug Mr. T to make him fall asleep, so they had to fly. I love that so much when I was a kid. It was so funny. And they would trick him. Remember that they would like trick him into like he's like I don't like that. I won't have that burger. And they switch their burgers and they all take a bite of it. Somehow he's the only one who falls asleep. That was awesome. Anyway, number 2, we'll learn more about the crime syndicate. So again, this takes place again leading up to Solo, in which we have we see Crimson Dawn and we see that kind of stuff. We learn that Darth Maul is involved in those crime syndicates. They kind of left that open ended at the end of Clone Wars, so there's still room for more Maul to come back.
Of course he will.
Of course
he will.
And Ahsoka will as well. Ahsoka will be in there as well. So this
Right.
will continue forward with a lot of us. We probably will even see like Rex and some of those guys pop up as well. So there'll be that kind of thing. So that's another thing that could help us out. And it will also they also help to distinguish between like how do clones become stormtroopers, right? That's something that they've never really talked about in Star Wars. So we know that clones. Obviously, they're clones of Jango Fett. They're grown and bred to be soldiers, and they have like no free will in that way. Those are gone at the end of Revenge of the Sith. In the new trilogy, we were told that these stormtroopers are like conditioned from childhood. They're kidnapped and conditioned from childhood, like Finn is to be a stormtrooper. But in the era of A New Hope, of the first trilogy. As Solo does confirm this, people just would volunteer to join the Empire. Like people just volunteer and they probably was some conscription and some drafting of soldiers, but people would just sign up to be a stormtrooper.
I think they explained it. I mean, nobody likes this, but they explained it in a video game, and I can't remember what it was called. It was the Xbox game with 3 clone troopers, and one threw the grenades, and one did something else, and one did something else. And I think, if memory serves me right, that was the first video game that had General Grievous in it.
Oh, cool.
And there's like a couple things like that were in the game. And I do believe, I might be mistaking it with a different Star Wars game, but in there, I think they showed like a montage, or they at least discussed it, where it was like, after a while, the cloning technology got watered down and it wasn't as good. And like they had an explanation as to why suddenly stormtroopers couldn't shoot to save their lives. Like that,
I chalked that up to shitty training. Like let's churn these guys out so quickly. We don't have time to train them how to shoot properly. We just want to get them in uniform and get them out on the standing around looking, because they look scary. Like stormtroopers look scary, but when you actually go up against them, they're not much to be afraid of.
There was some attempt at explanation somewhere. I think it was that video game, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
But I think that's what we're talking about, and probably that probably would be a storyline that would be fitting. And since the Bad Batch, the whole idea is they reject the notion of them being kind of a collective, I guess. That they kind of reject that, and their own.
But who are
something went wrong?
Like who are the Bad Batch working for after Order 66?
Themselves, right?
Well, I get that's the question, right? So I think there's potential there. I think that it's a shame that those episodes are kind of poorly done, but
only by my standards.
Well, I mean, and a lot of people liked them. I still haven't watched them. Maybe I will now. But I just think that it's good they're kind of keeping the content going. I was thinking about this the other day. I saw another piece actually that talked about how Solo is proof that we're Star Wars spoiled. So we've talked about this many, many times on this podcast as far as how we have like a glut of Star Wars content. We did anyway at the time that Solo came out. And Solo, of course, did not do well at the box office. People had too much Star Wars at that point. So they kind of
bad marketing.
Bad marketing, but also
new timing.
It was too soon after the Last Jedi. The Last Jedi itself divided fans and kind of soured a bunch of people on Star Wars. So a bunch of kind of negative things. But we've said it many times. It's a good movie. Like Solo is solid. It was on TV the other day, and I caught a bit of it, and it's just fun. It's just a fun movie. So, but because we're so spoiled with all the Star Wars content, so many people can just kind of come forward and say, "Oh, this is awful," and talk about how much it sucks. But I think it's still good. And in fact, it kind of what I feel like, and then we'll talk about this, I'm sure. Once they make more announcements going forward about what's coming, and I do have a rumor that I want to talk about in a second, but I feel like the standalone movies would be a smarter way to go than to make another trilogy. Like I wish they would just kind of keep doing standalone movies and that would be it for Star Wars. I don't think we need to have like big trilogies or like I could see them trying to do maybe an Avengers type of thing where they have standalone films and then bring it all together in a shared universe kind of thing. They could try doing that as well.
If it works, everybody's all for it, and if it doesn't work, they think everything's a terrible idea, and that's always the problem.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you don't really know. The proof is in the finished product, and I think because the latest trilogy was kind of a mixed bag. I mean, I don't think anybody would disagree with that, with the fact that it was a mixed bag.
Right, but so was the prequels. The prequels were as well. So, and Star Wars survived the prequels. It will survive this, and it will keep going. And people will still go see movies and buy merchandise and be Star Wars fans. But I would be more satisfied, I think, from a story point of view, with just seeing a standalone Star Wars movie. It doesn't need to be like the classic George Lucas cliffhanger type of thing that he used to do. It can just be a story, just a 2-hour story. That's all we need. And certainly the Mandalorian is proof that they can do kind of a smaller story segments like that, like in the form of a TV show on the Mandalorian, but they can still do that as far as a movie goes as well. Speaking of that, there's a rumor, I don't know if you heard this one, about some changes coming to Lucasfilm. So there's an online rumor that said this is completely speculation. None of this is confirmed, of course, and I doubt the veracity of some of it. But it says there's an inner divide in Lucasfilm, and that they may try to erase the sequel trilogy and also fire Kathleen Kennedy before her contract is up. Her contract is up next year, 2021, and then and I mean, it all sounds like BS. Now this one says this article is actually an update that says that the sequel trilogy will not be erased, but would be ignored. So they won't make anything else building upon this trilogy with Rey and Finn and Poe and all those things. It'll be like they'll create something new, completely new, and go off in a different direction.
I think they went back and forth so many times on that last trilogy. Like, I think the J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson kind of like erasing each other's movies was such that I think now you could do another sequel trilogy and you could undo whatever you wanted. I mean, that's the problem. But people,
the thing is, people didn't like that. Like, I think overall, even though there were so many people who were angry at what The Last Jedi did, when they go back to try and fix that, people didn't like that either. So they don't like the idea of just erasing things that happened in the previous movie. They want Star Wars to make sense, and nothing about The Last Jedi. Well, some things make sense, but a lot of what, The Rise of Skywalker. A lot of the stuff that happens there doesn't really make sense in the scheme of things, right? How does Palpatine come back, right? All that crap. So yeah, this one says that this is another person kind of addressing rumors, says that Kathy Kennedy's contract will not be terminated. In fact, it will be renewed. But then they go on to predict that this is where it gets really ridiculous, in my opinion. After Kathy Kennedy steps down or retires or whatever, then it'll be Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni running Lucasfilm, which I'm like, well,
did Dave Filoni write this article?
I don't know. You know what's interesting? No, it was Herb Scribner. This is from Desert News. But what's interesting about that is I've been watching with Luke, my son Luke, has been watching Avatar, not the James Cameron film, not the Last Airbender, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, but in fact the animated series Avatar: The Last Airbender, which the movie was based on, and is actually my older son Jack points out that it's not an anime. It's got the style of an anime, but it's not because it was an American TV show. And Dave Filoni worked on that. And I see Dave Filoni's name come up quite often as we're watching the credits of Avatar. And it's actually a pretty good show, I would say. So he did some good work there. I don't think Dave Filoni's a bad director or producer or anything like that, but I think he wears a goofy hat. That's all I'll say.
He wears a goofy hat, but I would say the work that he does at Lucasfilm is somewhat, you can predict sort of where it's going based on the track record, and I wish that weren't the case. Like, I don't want The Mandalorian to become a sequel to Rebels. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to see Ezra.
He seems to really want to tie it all together, right? You
Well,
get that- you
his
definitely-
stories.
Yeah, you get that feeling
Yeah.
that, and he wants to. So if he, like the Bad Batch, if he is behind that series, he's going
He
to
is,
want to
isn't
tie.
he? Is he not?
Well, I don't. He's probably a producer on it, but I don't know if he's going to
Yeah.
be directly involved. But he is going to want that to tie into Clone Wars, and probably tie it into Rebels as well, because that's that will bridge the gap between those two animated series. So I don't know about that, but I just I don't know. I just think that I don't think Jon Favreau is going to want to head up a studio anytime soon. I don't think he's done filmmaking. I think he's going to want to do something else at some point. Like it's just one series he's working on. He's not like, he's a Hollywood director. He wants to do some more directing.
I mean, that's all. I mean, it sounds like whoever wrote this, that's what they wished would happen.
Yeah.
It's like the old, I'm going to write the article that says what I wish would happen and say it's going to happen, and then maybe I'll influence it in some way, and that's what it sounds like to me. But I don't. I think first of all, they'd never erase that trilogy. They would make other movies that might reverse decisions that got made in that trilogy. I think that's
yeah.
like,
Well, we know that they've done that before, of course.
I don't think Kathleen Kennedy is going to get fired unless she steals some money from Lucasfilm, and then
right, because regardless of the failure of Solo, it still made money, right?
Oh,
they're not tanking. They're still like a profitable company, and they're still like, there's all kinds of stuff happening with Star Wars. So
yeah, I think we overestimate. We're willing to call Solo a failure with, and when in fact it made more money than what most movies make and everything. But so I think, I don't know. I think that is wish. It's all kind of this person's wish for what they would like to happen. I don't think you can really go by it. I would say, would Jon Favreau want to head up Lucasfilm, or is it Lucasfilm? I guess it is Lucasfilm.
That's what they're saying.
Maybe he would, but I think probably there's probably a third season of The Mandalorian. I'm guessing that'll be 3 seasons, but maybe it'll be more. I mean, who knows? Who knows what's
But I think you want
what's
somebody
likely
with
to
more
happen.
studio experience to head up, somebody else who's done more producing than Jon Favreau. I know that he's done quite a bit of producing at this point, but I don't know. I just think
Who
that
knows?
it does feel like a wish list article for sure. Because The Mandalorian is the best thing about Star Wars right now. A lot of people agree on that.
Yeah.
And Favreau was responsible for it, right? He is the one who brought us The Mandalorian, so that's why people want him to be more involved in Lucasfilm than he is.
And of course, Filoni was involved with that too. So before we just say he's a guy in a goofy hat, we have to give him credit for what happens in The Mandalorian.
Because, and as I said many times, he's the one out of that group that's actually worked directly with George Lucas and has that most direct experience. So in the question of what would George do, Filoni's probably got the answer, right? He's kind of that portal into what George Lucas. Although I imagine Pablo is as well, but he doesn't get the attention that Filoni does. I feel like sometimes Filoni's stealing Pablo's thunder a little bit. 'Cause he talks about all this. He talks about all these facts and stuff about Star Wars. I'm like, dude, you're getting that from Pablo. You're not remember that stuff yourself. Pablo's the one telling you that kind of stuff. He's texting Pablo in the middle of the night. Here's my cat.
Oh, look, the cat. Oh my God, you can actually. Our cats. Oh, that's pretty cute. Our cats can't be held because they're still. They're coming out of their being feral. And it's only been 6 months.
No.
It's only been 6 months, so they're just getting used to even walking near us. So I can only dream of manhandling my cat like that.
Well, she will now start trying to swat you on this. No, she's not going to do that. Actually,
No.
She's sniffing around, but she does love to walk across my keyboard as I'm on the computer.
That's a cat's classic trick.
Frequently turning on. Go, get out of here. Go. Anyway,
Walk where you're looking. That's the oldest trick.
One more piece of news that I want to talk about. Then I want to talk to you about toys. And this is another rumor. So we're addressing all kinds of Star Wars rumors. And this one is that Hayden Christensen will be returning to Star Wars in parts of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. That's a rumor that was out last week, or actually just a day ago. What do you think of this?
Well, so he's So let's see. Just where does that Obi-Wan take place? Do we know for a fact?
We actually don't know, and I think you and I both assumed that it would take place in the time between the Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, just because that's when he's on Tatooine and he's got nothing else to do. So why not give him something to do, right, in that time frame?
So Hayden Christensen would be in the Darth Vader outfit.
Well, he would already be Darth Vader at that point. So I don't know if
he'd be wearing the outfit, or would he be? I don't know.
See, that's the question, right? How does Hayden Christensen? Or does he show up as flashbacks? Maybe Obi-Wan has flashbacks to that kind of stuff. Maybe that's part of it.
Maybe he can. Maybe when you join the dark side, your Jedi light side spirit goes elsewhere.
I don't think they want to touch that. That seems like overly complicated stuff that they don't want to. Although
they didn't go there. In the Art of the Force Awakens book, they were gonna go there, where it was like the Force is like a flickering flame. It's described in the book, and you can see, and Hayden Christensen's face was gonna appear like.
See, he was one of the voices that Rey heard in Rise of Skywalker. Was Hayden Christensen? Yeah, not Darth Vader, not James Earl Jones, but Hayden Christensen, and
not Anakin. Hayden Christensen's voice.
Well, no, Darth Vader is James Earl Jones, right? And so I don't know. I don't know what else that could mean, or it could take place during the Clone Wars if we don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It could be part of that. I don't think they would do that. I think they should. This is my wish list for Star Wars, but they should make it during that time where Obi-Wan's on Tatooine. And then if Anakin's involved, it's either I don't think it would be a Force ghost Anakin. I think it would be either a flashback or somehow as Darth Vader. We would see him. Maybe we would see him in, like, if we're gonna see Darth Vader take off his mask, it would be his face all messed up and like your action figure that you have of the burned up.
In Rogue One, they could have done that with Hayden Christensen because they had the weird mock-up dummy in the back tank, which I think was not a human, but just a whatever. CGI plus. I think I saw like the rubber dummy in some picture where they were.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a combination of that stuff. So they could have already done that. I don't know why they would do it now if they didn't do it then.
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's weird. Yeah, flashbacks. That's probably pretty good. That's probably the best use that I can think of for bringing them back. But I mean, I would love to see Hayden Christensen in another Star Wars something.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have him back.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, as much as people criticize his performance in those movies, most people have kind of forgiven him and they realize it wasn't necessarily his fault that he was kind of wooden and unemotional. But they do miss that. I think they just miss having good Anakin, as opposed to Darth Vader. So they want to have more about Anakin before he turned. So maybe that's what they're going to do with that.
I just thought of a terrible way to bring him into the series. Turns out Anakin had a twin brother named Timmy, who nobody ever met. Nobody knew Timmy in the original series, but he was around. No. He was around, and he is Anakin's bad brother. He's a bad batch. He's a bad bitch.
So if he's Darth Vader's like evil twin brother, what does that make Darth Vader?
That's right, exactly. It makes him the good one.
I should mention that I actually played. I've talked about this before. So my son Jack has the Oculus Quest, the VR headset, and as part of that, he has this Vader Immortal Star Wars experience. It's not really a game; it's more of an experience because it's very difficult to die in this game. Like they give you tons of opportunity. So I played I only had played the first chapter of it a while ago when we bought it, and I didn't have time to play the other two. So there's 3 chapters. I played the second chapter this week, just because we were kind of hanging around, playing around with this VR thing, and it is quite fun. I got to say, it is still really cool to see. Like, you are like interacting with Darth Vader quite a bit. I'm sure that it's not James Earl Jones doing the voice, and it's also not Matt Sloan, who is the other guy, the guy who we had at FanQuest a number of years ago, who does the voice of Vader for all the Lego cartoons and a lot of the video games as well. It wasn't him either. I don't know who it is that was doing the voice of. The only person that got a credit was Maya Rudolph in that series, and she plays the droid. She plays the wisecracking droid,
man.
of course. So,
God.
But it's interesting. It is an interesting story. And again, at one point, once all this stuff has been lifted, we'll get you into that headset and you can play along with it as well and try it out, because I think that'd be a lot of fun to show people.
Yeah, I think that would be fun to show people, but you're not making it sound like a fun experience. You're making it sound.
No, it is.
Maya Rudolph shows up.
Maya Rudolph is and it's funny because it's kind of a combination of like the Luke and the Han Solo characters, where you're in a ship and you're going to somewhere. You have to go to Mustafar. I don't remember chapter 1 too much actually. You have the droid as your wisecracking droid friend, and you go down to Mustafar.
Wait a second, you're Darth Vader.
No, you're not Darth Vader. You're like just a guy. You're just a guy, and you go down
Oh, I
there, and
get
it
it.
turns out that you have the Force, and you all of a sudden Darth Vader teaches you how to use the Force.
What?
So happens very quickly. So, but you can. The cool thing is like using the VR and the controls. You can grab rocks and throw them. You can use a lightsaber. You get a cool lightsaber. So there's all kinds of those elements that are really cool. So it does allow you to do that stuff. And there's also a Rancor as well, which is really cool. That was a lot of fun with the Rancor.
Does Darth Vader ever laugh at the droid's wisecracks?
No, Darth
he
Vader and the
enjoy
droid
them?
are never in the. The droid and the Darth Vader are never in the same room for some reason. I don't know why that is.
Because
but
there'd be that uncomfortable moment where the Sith Lord would just look at the droid and tell him to shut up or something. He wouldn't.
that's right.
I don't think we ever hear Darth Vader share a chuckle with somebody, but he does tell some jokes. He does like in.
Well, he had that awesome joke in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Don't choke on your aspirations. Ha ha ha.
He likes that's right. He likes wordplay. He likes puns. He likes
He likes to surprise people at the dinner table.
He does. He likes physical comedy too. He likes
That's right.
he likes strangling. He likes strangling people for laughs. So he's not without a sense of humor. It's just rare that he enjoys someone else's other than his own.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, before I should ask you, have you gone out to the store and looked at any Star Wars toys in the last little while?
Yeah, I've looked a little. I have not seen anything amazing. Let me put it that way. I think I've done the old Walmart, GameStop, like the usual stops on the on the tour when you go get groceries. But
Walmart's shelves are pretty picked over the last time I was there. And again, the for some reason, the Princess Leia figure seems to be the one that's still there of the Empire Strikes Back special edition ones, the Kenner ones.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I will say that I did stop into Toys R Us this week, and I was looking for a skateboard. Shannon wants to try skateboarding, so I was looking for skateboards there. And they've actually moved all the Star Wars figures into a different area. It was like weird because it used to be their video game area. It was like the more secure part of the store where they have another gate there. And they've actually, the video game section is pared way down, and they've got more collectible figures. So that's where you would find the Marvel Legends and all those other type of lines of collectible figures. So that's where they have the Black Series. And in the Black Series, they had, I'm sure that you have some of these. I'm trying to zoom in and see what I've got here. They've got, we've got Admiral Holdo, Vice Admiral Holdo. Do you have that one? Are you aware of that one? From the Rise of Skywalker?
I don't have it. I don't know if I've ever seen it, to tell you the truth.
Okay, well, they had it there. They also had Rey and Dio.
Okay, I've seen that.
Also from the last, from Rise of Skywalker. They had Janna.
Yeah, I've seen.
That's Finn's new girlfriend, the other stormtrooper. They had Luke Skywalker from the metal scene. So this is him with the gold jacket.
Oh yes, I've seen that one. Yeah.
At the end of A New Hope, and also there's one from Wedge Antilles.
Yeah.
Which is cool because it's got a removable White Rebel helmet, which is really neat.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
That is cool.
So there's that. See, that's more of the same stuff. And then they had, I saw this really cool Imperial probe droid.
Oh.
This has actually got special 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back packaging, although it's still the box. It's still like a Black Series box, but it's got the little 40th anniversary logo on it. And that's cool. That looks really cool.
That's what I
It's like
thought.
super nice.
I thought it was super cool. I came very close to buying it. It's still there. It's still kicking around.
$45. It's $45. So it's more expensive than a normal Black Series figure because it's bigger.
I think it's one of those where you kind of like, the price could drop on this thing, so you just kind of.
Well, like there was all of these figures, there was definitely more than one in stock, and they had like lots, so it wasn't like they were flying off the shelves. Another one I thought was very, very cool from Solo. It's Enfys Nest's swoop bike.
Yes.
With Enfys Nest, and it's so cool.
It is cool.
I would love, and that's cheaper than the freaking Pro Droid.
I know, that doesn't make sense.
$41.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is cheaper than that, but anyway, that seems very, very cool. So that's Enfys Nest is again like the cool design of that character's costume and the swoop bikes and every part of that, which is so awesome for Solo there. So that was there, and then they had some cool helmets, including a Boba Fett helmet that had some kind of weird digital. I couldn't tell what this was. So you know Boba Fett where he has that thing that kind of flips down over his eye. So that thing on this helmet, you can see it there, but the little thing actually lights up and it looks like a screen. So I don't know. I couldn't really see what's involved in that. Then they also had a rebel helmet as well.
Oh,
like that. So, but these are ones
cool.
that would actually fit on your head as well. So those are kind of cool. That was Toys R Us. So I saw some cool stuff at Toys R Us.
I would totally buy one of those helmets if it didn't have such a bulbous head. You can't nothing that they make in terms of a helmet can fit on my goddamn head. Let me just throw it out there. So for me, whenever I see that stuff, I'm super interested. But you're not going to catch me in the toy aisle looking like a fool with that thing stuck on the top of my head.
No, but it's for when you go to the conventions. It's like when you go to the conventions, you can cosplay as Wedge. Or
Well, if
something
it
like
fit
that.
my head, I could. But I really like the way those look.
What's interesting about the Boba Fett helmet looks really cool, but I know so many people who've done like really good the Mandalorian Mercs here in Winnipeg, and of course it's a worldwide organization, but they make excellent helmets.
Yeah,
there's all kinds of tutorials. You can make your own kind of Mando helmet or in whatever style you want. And so there's some really cool stuff there. So, I mean, it takes a lot of work, obviously, and it's probably more expensive in the long run, but you get some really authentic looking helmets. I also saw this. This is not a Black Series figure, but this is the Stormtrooper on the catapult bike. Remember when
How big is
fly
that?
now? It's the
6 inch?
Yeah, it's a 6
No
inch.
way.
Yeah.
I've never seen
so
that.
They fly now. It's not a Black Series though. It's not in the box. It's in a different kind of
Wow.
character. But yeah, so that's I don't know if it actually like pops them up. Oh yeah, it does. Look.
Pops them up?
Okay, it does. It throws them up in the air. Yeah, crash effects. Oh, okay, so it like falls apart when it crashes into stuff. And the other thing I saw there was I almost bought it too, and I didn't. I'm like, I don't know what I would do with that, but it was like only $5 for the 3 3/4 inch Snoke in his gold robe.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know if I really want Snoke in his gold robe as he's lounging around in his.
See, I bought it. I bought the 6-inch figure because it's just so ridiculous, and it's also there is no other figure that looks that way. And so to me, that's why I was like, okay, this isn't a remold. This isn't anything. The dude's dead now, and now he's revealed to be a useless clone. A bunch of clones in a fucking tube. So nobody's gonna want him. And so on that basis, I was like, this might be my only chance. So I got it. But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's a weird figure to buy, but I like it.
Well, the other thing is that it was only $5. I mean, those ones, the old Last Jedi figures, it's been out for a couple of years now. So I guess these are ones that just didn't sell, and but they had something else, and I can't remember what it was. But anyway, that was the only other one that caught my eye. We also went to Walmart, as I said, and saw something really funny. And Luke made the comment that, oh, that's a ripoff of Star Wars, and it was called Space Sword, and it was in the Star Wars section, right beside all the Star Wars figures, but this is not a Star Wars product, and it's just basically a knockoff lightsaber that does pretty much exactly what you think the lightsaber does. It lights up. Look at this guy they have on the cover. It's like a spaceman. Looks like a Halo soldier. It looks like the Master Chief with a lightsaber. It's like, oh, someone's gonna get sued over that one.
Totally ripped it off.
But it was only $5. So if you want to get your kid, that's the kind of thing like grandma would buy for the grandkids because she doesn't know the difference, right? And that's where they get you. They have all these knock-up toys trying to trick people into thinking they're the real thing.
They had these glow-in-the-dark ones when I was a kid that me and all my friends had just because we couldn't afford the actual merch. So we just bought the glow-in-the-dark ones, and they were cool. And
yeah. Did you have to hold them up to the light to charge them?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But then when you shut off the lights, it actually looked like a lightsaber. It was actually pretty good. Yeah. And plus, it was like this reinforced plastics. So the official merch would break, but this stuff, you just like hammer each other with the thing. It was pretty good. It's a little more sturdy to hurt your friends with,
Okay.
Which is what you want.
Yeah, this was okay too. It was pretty small though. It looks like it's designed more for smaller kids, but I just like that it was hilarious that Luke just noticed that and said that's not a real Star Wars product.
Good for him.
What are they doing with that? Yeah, for sure. So anyway, what else? Anything else about Star Wars you want to talk about this week?
Let me think. Did I see anything else about Star Wars? Gosh, I don't think I did. I'm always looking for that stuff, and I did see some of those news stories you're talking about as well. But there seems like we're in the calm before the Mandalorian storm in a couple months.
Yeah, but I think it's a good thing. What I was trying to get at when I talked about that article about Solo and being spoiled, Star Wars spoiled, is that it's a good thing to take a break. So I'm glad that we're not it was too much. It was too much, even though, like, if they had waited a year, if they had waited until the trilogy was done and then released Solo after that, then I think it would have been fine. Like, I think that there was no need to try and make, and they were trying to do like the Marvel thing where they're trying to release multiple movies per year. As long as they stick to like one every couple of years, I think we're okay. And again, I wish that Solo didn't really take the brunt of that, because it's a really good movie, and I want to revisit. I want to revisit that movie. I want to revisit Rogue One. And eventually we'll get around to watching, Rise of Skywalker together on this podcast. But those, for sure, in the next few weeks, I'm going to try and revisit those two movies once I'm finished some of the other stuff I'm watching right now, because my slate's kind of full as far as content.
I mean, ironically, we've never had more time to consume stuff, and it's harder than ever to get it all in.
But they're gonna, that the COVID-19 thing delayed production on a lot of stuff. So even though they were, so right now Obi-Wan's in rewrites. They're working on that. They are producing a second season of The Mandalorian that will be out in the fall. So, but we don't know anything else as far as any new movies, anything else coming up. Like, we still have no announcements as far as what's coming next as far as the film franchise is concerned.
Yeah.
And so that's
fine, I think. As long, keep the Disney Plus content coming, and we'll worry about the movie when it's announced.
Well, because I think part of the reason that they're kind of holding off, they probably would have announced, if not for COVID-19, they probably would have announced something. There would have been a Celebration this year, right? So we missed out on Celebration, so they probably were saving some of those announcements for Celebration. So they're waiting now to see what happens. And of course, we don't know what kind of shape. Again, we talked, if you missed Media Nerds last week, we talked about the theater industry and what that's going to look like after this is all said and done. So I think Lucasfilm is also waiting to see what that's going to look like and what going to the movies will look like after COVID-19. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, I really I think they're going to still continue to make content. Obviously, they're still making video games, and those are going to be good. Hopefully, we got that fighter pilot one coming out. What is it called again? Rebel Squadron?
Squadron, something Squadron.
Squadrons, plural, because you're also
bad guy Squadrons?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'm not going to look it up. Cat's looking like she wants to pounce on my computer right now. Watch this. Wait. Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? Nope. This is great content for the people listening, because they have no idea. We should record the video part of this. All right, she's sniffing around. Anyway, never mind.
That'll be perfect for teaching next year.
I know. I can't wait for that. Oh, I believe me, the students will love it. I guarantee you they'll love it. Oh, the cat just stuck its head in front of the camera.
By the way, you just reminded me, when I'm not going to name names here, but when we had a staff meeting on Microsoft Teams and everybody was in the grid, outside the window of one of our staff members was a cat licking its butt. I'm just going to throw that out there. No,
awesome.
As far as I know, nobody else noticed it.
I didn't.
I'm not naming names. I'm just saying that I saw that.
I don't look at it in that view. When I'm watching like a meeting, I have it in the one person per, and it switches over to whoever's talking. I don't look at the grid. It's just too much to look at.
I used to have it that way, but then I switched it to the grid. And then I just got too lazy to switch it back. And when I switched it, it crashed. That was the other thing. So I'm like, no.
The benefit of the grid is that you can see people who don't think they're on camera, like me probably. And I lean way back like this. I'll be like,
yawning.
So you can probably see me doing that. When is this meeting going to be over?
Yeah, right. It's hard to stare at Zoom all day. You can't do it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a nice kitty.
She's good. She's very good. All right. That's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadavonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
How are you? TK421, do you copy?